never focus on growth, focus on like delighting your customers and then start building the processes around that. But building everything else without making sure you've got something that people want is just, it's a waste of effort.
Welcome to Honest Ecommerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest Ecommerce. Today I'm welcoming to the show Aaron Schwartz. He is a direct-to-consumer business builder, investor, and advisor on a ton of e-commerce tech companies. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Alrighty. What wasn't included in that introduction though is what are you up to now? So let's just get that out of the way. Where are you working now? What are you working on?
Yeah, I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Orita. We help brands understand who their most engaged customers are, who's not engaged. It's not super sexy as a company. We don't have like some whiz-bang app. We've got a lot of machine learning engineers kind of working under the hood to help folks understand it, and they make more money when they work with us. So it's pretty good.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely circle back there and talk more about it. But I always like to let our audience understand the history of our guests when we're doing these bonus episodes, and honestly, just why you should listen to them, maybe. So I guess, like, when did you first get into e-commerce?
Yeah.
You know, how this become your career?
Yeah, man. I've been around for a while. You can see the gray hairs.
I'm working on them.
Yeah, you'll get there. 2010, I started a consumer brand after business school, and it was truly meant to be a 3-month project. And then it turned into 7 years full out. It was Weebly, then Interspire, which was BigCommerce, and we became a Shopify brand, kind of earlier vintage. The brand was called Modify. We scaled very quickly. It ended up being print-on-demand watches and sports licensing and all the things. And then in like 2017, I switched over to more the commerce tech side. I very much do miss being a brand owner. Like every Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like I very much miss it. I know it's hectic and stressful and all the things, but it's also really fun. And I co-founded a company called Passport, which does international shipping for God knows how many brands at this point, like over 1,000. And I've kind of like had this winding career since 2017 where I'm like an investor in a bunch of companies, like the smallest investor, right? Small checks, but still fortunate to be in the rounds, and then advisor, founder of a couple companies. And then I was the president at Loop Returns, which, you know, kind of is the return solution for the Shopify ecosystem. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I got to ask you, and I think I'll get a real answer from is the grass greener on the other side? I think that everybody in SaaS wants to be in product, and everybody in product, like, you know, in the brand world wants to start a SaaS app. It's
a good question. I mean, my other side was like, do I become an investor or not? And I started writing checks. And I realized like, I don't think I'm a very good investor. I love founders, and I'm super optimistic, and I assume things will work out. I don't think I have any good insights or not. In terms of switching from the brand side to the SaaS side, dude, they're both hard.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is if you're talking to a founder and she's going to start something new, it doesn't matter what you're starting, commerce, non-commerce, tech, a fund, a brand, like it's just hard, right? It's all consuming, as a founder. Obviously, you know that. And so I think it's just like different pain points. With the brand side, you're like, oh, is our inventory going to make it on time? Do we make the right merchandising decisions? Should we discount? Should we not discount? Right? Like there's unlimited questions to ask. Who actually wants to hear from me? Who doesn't? How do I grow? How do I not run out of cash? On the SaaS side, it's super painful. Like we'll be like, hey, look, here's your results. It's 100x ROI. And you've agreed to it. I've agreed to it. And then you come to me and you're like, yeah, but we need to cut our software budget, so we're not going to pay more. And it's like, well, if we disappear, you lose $100,000. You won't pay us $4,000 for that. And so it's the same sort of thing where it's different problems, but you've got to be creative and figure it out. And it's a grind, man. Even as we're scaling so quickly with Orita, it's like every day, you know, there's a fire to fight, and then you got to make that decision. Do I fight it or do I let it burn? I don't know. I think grass is never greener.
Yeah. And that's kind of my thought process. It's just like, there's no right or wrong way to build a business, and no right or wrong industry to get into. You know, if you remove just like you're not building a unicorn. I don't think anyone listening to this podcast is going to build a unicorn, right?
Hey. Easy. We're fighting the good fight.
I know, but you're like, you can build an amazing company though, right?
Yeah, man. Like, that's right. We're building a company. I mean, I tell every employee who joins us, I'm like, look, we're not going to run out of cash in 6 months, but your options are eventually going to be worth zero. Because like, I have ultimate belief in this. I don't need to be doing this right now. Exhausted. We've got 2 kids. Like, there are 1,000 things I could be doing. I believe it'll be a monster company and like super impactful. Odds are against every single business being successful.
Absolutely. But I wasn't necessarily saying Orita or your company. I was just saying people listening to this, right? It's like, you're not making the odds are you're not making the next, Facebook or the next Tesla, right? Odds are you're going to build a sustainable business that's going to make you a lot of money, though. Like, there's so much money to be made out there when you kind of just focus on problems that need solved and let your customer tell you what they want to do. And so I don't know where I was going with this, to be honest, but I just think that like oftentimes people get caught up in preparing for growth before they even like have product market fit.
No, man. I mean, I think you're spot on. I kind of made that comment earlier about how I miss holiday. Throughout the life of Modify, we wrote a handwritten note to every single customer. And like, now a lot of companies do that and that's cool, but like, I'd never seen that. We were pumped about it, right? We were like Zappos fanboys back in the day. And the idea was not like, cool, here's this note, but it was literally make it as easy as possible for somebody to tell us why we sucked. So there was a note and there was a business card with my email and my cell phone number up front. And then eventually as we scaled, it was like more of a company line, not my personal cell. But the idea was like, tell us how to get better. And I think if you're starting your business, if I'd started been like, cool, how do I get to 10 million sales or 100 million in sales? We would have never gotten to a million, right? But like, we got to the million by getting a ton of feedback and getting punched in the face a lot and then being like, oh, actually, this is the thing that's working, or there's this green shoot of some positivity over here. Why don't we go explore this part of the market and then see it? And so, yeah, like, never focus on growth, focus on like delighting your customers and then start building the processes around that. But building everything else without making sure you've got something that people want is just, it's a waste of effort.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how the ideation for kind of Orita came about.
Yeah. I was actually pretty lucky. I kind of hit a point in my career where I'm like an advisor to a bunch of these kind of like commerce tech companies. One of the companies is called Faring, which used to be called Enquire Labs. They serve like 4,000 or 5,000, I don't know how many Shopify brands, right? But it's like zero party data, go get survey information. Brilliant team. And one of the founders of that, Matt, connected me with these 2 guys, DB and Zach, who are both machine learning engineers and had been doing a consulting business for years, helping commerce brands. So they worked with like Tuft and Needle, Melissa and Doug. They helped like a same day delivery company with their routing. I mean, like if there was a hard data problem, these 2 guys can have solved it. And they're dumb. They should have been at like OpenAI or Meta or Uber, but they're like, no, we're going to keep fighting the good fight in commerce. Anyway, late 2023, they figured out what the product was, which was like, oh, brands use rules of thumb to figure out who to message and who not to. And they're sitting on tens or hundreds of millions of data points that could help them do a better job targeting. And so they figured this out. And then Matt from Faring connected me as like, hey, Aaron, be an advisor to these guys, help them with go-to-market and fundraising. And literally a month in, they asked if I would join as a co-founder. And I was like, it was hard because of like the kids, and my wife has a super intense job. And we spent a couple months where I basically worked for free as a co-founder to like figure out if this was really the right fit. And dude, it's been awesome. Like, it's been a year. It's been a sprint. I don't sleep as much as I used to. I'm more stressed than ever, but I'm like loving it. And so that was the founding.
All right. So the product, dumb it down for me, right? As a layman, what does it do? What does this machine learning do on top of my data, which I'm just guessing you're going to plug into Shopify and maybe some of the other things I use, and then tell me what.
Yeah. So it's actually the more important piece is plugging into Klaviyo or Iterable or Braze. So think like your ESP. Mm-hmm. Soon we'll be doing SMS. We already do direct mail. We partner with Postpilot, but it's not we don't care about the platforms, but we're platform agnostic. And then we get to be a brand's data science team. So most of our brands are like The Perfect Gene or Psycho Bunny or Tracksmith or Caraway. So like awesome brand, some of whom have like a full internal team thinking about their retention marketing. Some use a third-party agency. They all use a software like Klaviyo. Let's just do that because it's simple. And our job is to complement them. So we are their outsourced machine learning team. What does that mean? Any of those brands have literally 500 million data points about their customers. I don't just mean like, did they click? Did they open an email? Did they purchase? It's like, did they start a return? Did they leave a review? Do they check their loyalty points? Like all this data flows in. We're really, really good at building models around all that data. And so what a generic brand does is they use a rule of thumb. They say, look, if somebody clicked in the last 90 days, send them an email. There's so much more insight you can get, which is like, actually, there's somebody who clicked 91 days ago who's ready to buy, more ready than somebody who clicked 2 days ago. Make sure to send her that email. And like, that's what we do. So we help you understand who's like got screaming signal. Yeah, send me an email right now. Who are the people who are going to buy independent of you sending an email? Like, don't waste the send. And then who are the people who are like completely unengaged? There's like this one other piece that's cool for bigger brands. If they've cleaned their lists, which every brand does at some point, you're like, hey, we'll do a sunset flow. We'll give 90% off. And if people don't buy it, then we're never emailing them again. There's actually an insane amount of revenue to be found from like the people who were like dead contacts or were clean before. And so we actually monitor all those and then we reactivate those people too. And for some of our brands, like we had a call this morning where we found like 700K, not an exaggeration, in like the last 3 months of incremental revenue. Now it's a big brand, right? So it's like, it's percentage points of growth, but it's like literally found revenue for them. So that's it. It's like really, really complex under the hood, but for the brand, it's like email, don't email. That's the decision.
Yeah. So the one thing you said is like, you know, the rules of thumb, which I would say, that is absolutely the way most people work. Yeah. So like maybe there's like a little bit more like fuzzy logic behind the buckets to which these emails or the emails belong to real customers or potential customers. There's fuzzy logic behind these buckets, and then the buckets power flows the normal way that your email platform might do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think about it this way. If you use like a great agency or you've got the internal team, you can go figure out today, who is my most engaged audience, like literally today. And it might take you a couple hours of work. The challenge is tomorrow you'll have new data, right? Because consumers will engage or not engage. And let's just say we do this analysis and we get to, I start my current consulting, you start we're like, we could go build an awesome analysis. And we're like, actually, it's not 90 days. It's 84.6 days. So anybody who's clicked 84.6 days ago, that's our engaged person. Tomorrow, we're a day further from Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or we're a day closer to a new product launch. Like literally the brand is changing and the content strategy is changing and the merchandising is changing. And oh, by the way, all the consumers are changing. So it's like an impossible task.
It's also seasonality too. If you've got like a
100%.
Sunglass brand.
That's it. It's not just spring, summer, winter, fall, or holiday. Like some brands have a really big back to school. Some have a big Mother's Day. Some have a big Father's Day. So like quote unquote seasonality also varies by brand. And it's even within BFCM. Do they start 2 days earlier or 2 days later? And so it's an impossible task for somebody to model out who is engaged and who's unengaged unless you use machine learning and unless you like literally refresh those models every single day. So that's why it's not like people are doing a bad job. I, again, ran a brand like 9 years of sending emails. And I'd be like, look, I know Chase hasn't clicked on the last 14 emails, but my God, this email, it's awesome. There's a discount. It's the best graphic we've ever created. Trust me, guys, he's going to click on this one.
I'm the bane of all email marketers.
If you click spam, you're the bane of all email.
No. I never do spam for email marketing unless you don't have an unsubscribe button for some reason. There's a very specific brand that I want to call out, but I won't. But I also run an agency and I'm signed up for 1 million newsletters for inspiration.
Dude, the other thing is like, so you are actually, it's a really interesting test case. Let's say that we get a brand's deliverability high, which is something that we do, which means like, cool. Now we're sure that the email is going to land in Chase's inbox, not in spam. Okay. And the brand has the best creative in the world and they're launching a new product. You may not buy because of email and you may not buy because you just like never take action. It goes in your promo. You're busy. You just like don't. But guess what? You might buy because of text or you might buy because of direct mail. And so the idea of like, and you'll see us, we've already added direct mail to our, right? It's easy to talk about email, but like we've literally already added direct mail for a bunch of our brands and soon it'll be SMS. Is the question isn't like, what does the marketer want to do? It's what does Chase want? When do you want to hear from a brand? Right? That is the question that we're trying to solve. Because like the marketer is always going to be like, yeah, I got some hot shit. Let me send this right now.
All right.
But it's like email may not work for you.
It sounds like this product sounds amazing for retention marketing, for contacting people that you have their contact information, right? Now, if I'm a brand, it seems like, you know, you need to have some data and data points to like, where is, you know, is it the size of my, you know, my overall list where this starts to make sense and it's a value add in to me? Or, what are some of those factors I should be looking at to where exploring a software like this might make sense?
Yeah. It's a good question. First of all, we do a free audit for everybody. Like we will literally ingest the data, build a custom model, like truly brand by brand. Like if you're a brand with sub-brands, we'll build a custom model for every sub-brand to show you if we can actually be useful or not. We aren't useful for everybody. So at our website, you can go do that. What we see is like, it's less about the quantity of data. It's more about the history. So you made the comment about seasonality before. It's insane for us to tell you what to do come January 15th if we've never seen your business on January 15th before, because then we're just coming back with rules of thumb. So we care most about you have a year's worth of data. And then on top of that, it's like the real minimum is probably 50,000 subscribers. We have some brands that have 10,000 or 30,000. But like, if you think about a big data product, which is what we are, more data is definitionally better. Yeah. So like we create way more value for Caraway or Addicted than we do for Psycho Bunny, than we do for but we still create a ton of value for all those guys. Yeah. Right. And like we can go up market much easier than down to like somebody's been around for 3 months.
No, that makes perfect sense. Like you need the data, like, and that's even something that when people come to us and they're talking about conversion rate optimization, I was like, it's going to take us 2 months to do a statistically significant test. Like you guys just aren't ready, unfortunately. Go take all this money that you want to spend on us and go buy more, like go spend it on ads.
It is funny. Even talking about this statistically significant stuff is like, we always have a whole lecker. We've got a 10% whole lecker. We show off A/B tests. We're like, look, the people who we removed separate from this whole lecker clicked at 1/10 the rate of everybody else. And some people are just like, well, we don't buy it. And I'm like, I think for us, it's actually like, we just need to go with a slightly like bigger company because they will have seen this and understand the value of that.
Yeah, it is like unfortunate. Like, and I could even a few years back, like every opportunity, every customer, like there's money to be made. Yeah. And I think as you just get more mature in business, it's like not every customer is not a good customer, and you only want the good ones.
Dude, if I brought my brand to you, you would have fired me so fast, because I was literally that pain in the ass merchant where I'd be like, Chase, I get it, but I know it. Or like, hey, I'm not going to, if it was an app, I'd be like, I'm paying $50 out of my pocket. You're not, like, where's my service? So I'm very empathetic.
Well, that's a good transit, because I did have a follow-up about, so you mentioned that it's for retention and some people outsource this to a third-party agency. Like, I know a lot of agencies listen to this podcast. Like, is this a tool that they should be putting into their repertoire for using for their managed brands? I
mean, the safe answer is to say yes. We partner with like 60 or 70 Klaviyo agencies. I think we've got a dozen of the like master elites, like the top tier. The way we think about this, I think like the agencies who know us, who have like actually spent time going through an audit and seeing their customers, is like, we're a cheat code, right? It's like, we're the machine learning team. If you're an amazing agency, what are you great at? Well, you're great at creative. You're great at strategy. You're probably not great at machine learning and data science. You might have a data scientist on staff, maybe. And if you do, like, this isn't probably the first problem that she's solving. There's plenty of other ones. And so we think about our role as kind of being like, you're a student in high school math and like you get to bring a TI-83 calculator and everybody else is paper and pencil. Like, that's why agencies like us, we don't replace segmentation. We're additive. We're like, look, if Chase clicked a week ago, the agency's going to find them. The brand's going to find them. We're going to find you. If the last time you clicked was 280 days ago, we're the only ones who are going to find you without screwing up everything else by saying like, include everybody who clicked 280 days ago. Because like you can't possibly do that unless you're using machine learning, which again, I'm a history major in MBA. So like discount me, but like one of my co-founders is a PhD, one's a master, like we're actually good at that side of the house.
What are these, like, I'm a brand, we're doing great. We're approaching eight figures. We've got well more than 50,000 subscribers, right? Yeah. And we want to, Orita sounds cool, or something like Orita sounds cool. Like, what are this, like, I install it. Do you guys just say, here are some signals and I need to do stuff with, like, how's it work?
I got you. No, it's easier. So we will, I'll talk about our email product, right? So think about us adding like a layer of data science on top of your Klaviyo is the right way to think about it. 2 different products. The first one is like a CRM manager's dream. You give us the data. We give you a list every single week. It's called our audiences product, Orita Grow Audiences. And we will give you a list and you email them and you will make somewhere between 2% and 8% incremental revenue. The fact that we give you a list of 100,000 people, a lot of those people are already going to be on your list. Like I mentioned, Chase clicks a week ago. You're on our list. You're on their list type of thing, on the brand's list. But we're really good at finding incremental revenue there. And like, if we get that list, it is extraordinarily performant. So that is you have to take a step of literally clicking a button to add a list to a send you have. You don't need to create a new send. Just put it into whatever campaign you have going out. You'll make more money. The second product is a CMO's dream because it is about building a profitable email program. This works as a background tool. We literally will be like, hey, there's a lot of signal that says Megan's not engaged. Put her on do not disturb. So even if the brand wants to email her, Orita's saying look, you want to email her, but all of the signal around her in email is she's not going to click. So don't waste the send. Or she might click spam, which is super painful. Mm-hmm. Or she might click unsubscribe and you're wasting her as a possible future buyer. And so that is a background tool that works. The reason I say it's a CMO's dream is you actually might make $1,000 less this week in order to make $2,000 more in a month, right? Because you send to fewer people. So you save unsubscribes and you improve your deliverability, which means more, it hits more inboxes so more people can buy. And then guess what? You're probably going to reactivate Megan in a month or whenever the signal says this is the highest likelihood. And so for both of these, we've tried to make it this extraordinarily complex under the hood, right? It is hard to do what we do, but extremely easy for brands, truly a set it and forget it product if you want it to be. There's expert mode. There's all this other stuff you can do with it, but we've made it for the me's, right? The history majors who started a brand on a lark who are not that good at data.
Yeah.
Who do not want to make this, who I have enough other decisions to make. It's great. I don't need to think about this. It works. And so that's a conceit of the business.
Absolutely. And speaking of easy, if I want to get a free audit of my email and see if this is a good idea for my business, what should I do? Where should I go?
Yeah. So the brand is Orita. So ORITA.ai. You can go to Orita.ai and click on the top right corner, or you could go straight to app.orita.ai. Literally, we're a Klaviyo partner, so you can click OAuth. It will take a minute. It will take us time. We are building a custom model. We'll jump on a call. We'll walk you through the audit, and then we'll see. But that's it.
Awesome. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing all those insights.
Thanks, man. This was fun.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.